Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The one and only Sydney Sweeney joins us. Sydney, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Tom Hanks and Robin Wright in my favorite movie of the year. Guys, thanks so much for joining the show.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
One of my all-time favorites, Vince Vaughn, joins us right now. Vince, thanks, man.
Oh, great to be with you, Brad, and great to be talking to Houston. Good morning to you.
We got Owen Wilson. We got Judy Greer. Thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thank you.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
We got Anna Sawai joining the show. Anna, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brad.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk to me funny, lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Paris Hilton, the infinite icon herself, is on the show. Paris, love the film.
Thank you. I'm so proud of it.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
All right, yeah, Brad Gilmore, ESPN and the CW. Brian, man, thanks so much for taking the time. Congrats on the film, brother.
I really appreciate that, Brad. Thanks for having me. I'm so grateful.
Let's talk about it, though. I mean, the people are finally going to get to see this movie, you know, that you've been putting your blood, sweat, and tears into. Y'all went through the whole process. It's been edited. Now the people are going to get to see it. How are we feeling about it?
Oh, honestly, I have so much gratitude for this film. You know, I've been a big fan of Kenji and his work for a long time. To give a little backstory, you know, around the time I started training martial arts, you know, I wanted to become a stuntman in the beginning. I actually sent Kenji a message on either Facebook Messenger or email back in 2012, 2013, you know, so that just goes to show how big of a fan I am of Kenji. And then having been able to do this, I see it as a full circle moment, and I'm just extremely grateful.
Well, I mean, talk about, though, that transition. Like, obviously, the idea was, I want to be a stunt man. I want to do these big movies, you know, martial arts. Obviously, there's been so many great martial artists who've made that transition to film. You know, we don't have to name them. We know who they are, right? Like, the biggest names you can think of. Was that from, like, a young age? That's what you wanted to do? Or did you find yourself wanting to do that later in life?
It definitely from a young age. I grew up on martial arts films, actually. My mom, she worked, you know, my parents moved here from Vietnam with pennies and zero, you know. My mom, she opened up a little shop at a swamp meet, and we had a little TV in the back. And from there, my dad always rented, probably never returned. He rented a bunch of Kung Fu films, Shaw Brothers, Golden Harvest, TVB series. So I grew up on Kung Fu films. I grew up watching the greats, Jet Li, Jackie, Donnie, Bruce Lee, Sambo Hung, you name it, you know. So I believe I've always, you know, I believe it was for a reason. I don't believe it was random. And I believe I lived in that frequency since a kid. So just having believed that I could do it, you know, I don't know how else to be except living in the vibration of doing martial arts. I believe it's come into fruition now, you know.
Well, I mean, obviously it has, right? It's come full circle. You went from watching them to now you're on the big screen, right? I mean, the Shaw Brothers productions, I mean, I don't know how many of those movies have influenced all of us growing up, right?
Totally.
I mean, and the names that you mentioned too. But when you talk about martial arts, going from that into film, I feel like there's several things that are connective, right? There's connective tissue between the two genres, right? Between the two art forms. Because I'm making an assumption here, you correct me if I'm wrong, but with martial arts, discipline and patience, right? I mean, those are two foundational elements of it. And to me, you have to have a lot of patience on a film set because there's a lot of downtime. So that comes into play. But you also have to be disciplined in order to hit your marks, come prepared, know what you're going to be getting into. Did you find that there was, I wouldn't say easy transition, but going into it, those foundational elements in not mixed martial arts, but martial arts helped you into the film world?
It definitely, you know, I would say it was a rare case for me and my brother and my team at Martial Club. I actually didn't have any formal training in martial arts growing up. I actually, just watched those kung fu films, and my brother and I, we would practice literally just watching the frame, just like I'm watching this, and we would copy it move for move. But alongside of that, didn't come just the physical movements, but it came with the camera angles, with the cut frames, with how to shoot it, with the feeling, with the intensity, and how to piece together a fight scene. So with that came the editing, the shooting, and everything. So I would say transitioning into martial arts films was a seamless blend. It wasn't ever like, doing purely martial arts and then going into film. It's always, I believe the art form and the discipline, I see the craft all as one, so I'm very grateful for that.
Well, it is because you know what? It's so funny you say that because to me, one of the things people miss about action movies and fight sequences in particular is that they are not there gratuitously. Like the fight sequence is furthering the story. We're just not speaking with our words. We're doing the physical storytelling, right? And we have to stay in character throughout the physical process. So it's not, how would Brian do this move? It's how would Brian's character do this move? Or how would such and such his character do the move? And to me, there's such a psychology to the fight scenes that maybe people don't always think about.
No, totally. Yeah. No, you are totally right, Brad. I would say the script itself and the action choreography, I see them as guidelines of of how the character of what happens in the story, But I think it's up to every performer to bring their truth and their reality onto to the screen, Like so in the script it could say father dies, Ho breaks down, but no one's telling no one's telling you how to act that out. You kind of have to write your own backstory and come in knowing who that character is. And I was very lucky. I had it was a collaborative effort where I talked to Kenji about how we can bring this character to life, how it should be, how it can contrast the other characters. I had that amazing opportunity. So I think you're definitely right. It's about bringing that character and bring our emotions into the movie itself, bring our truth into the film.
Well, I love that you said the word, and it was actually written down that I was going to ask you about is the collaboration with Kenji, right? Collaboration. Because to me, a director has so many things that they're thinking about. And they're not just thinking about your character, they're thinking about the entire cast, they're thinking about shots, they're thinking about lighting, they're thinking about the cinema, they're thinking about it all. And to me, what the actors can bring in is you are thinking not only about the story, but you're thinking about it specifically from your character's perspective. And perhaps you can have some ideas that aren't on the page because you're dedicating yourself to this character and to this character's story progression. And to bring that in, I think is such a valuable asset that I love to hear that he was collaborative.
No, totally. Yeah. And what I found beautiful was that obviously I'm a fan of the genre and so is Kenji. So I believe a lot of times we had very similar sensibilities. We were always on the same frequency when it came to, hey, can you be more of like this feeling? And I was like, I already know from what movie, what scene you're drawing inspiration from, So that just made everything so much easier. And I'm grateful I got to work with an amazing director like Kenji.
Right. And to be able to have that shorthand or, to understand each other's perspective and to be able to share in that, like, as you said, frequency, that's so great. And to me, though, you talk about, oh, I know what you were drawing from. I know the scene you're thinking about maybe from this movie or this movie. We've talked about them in generally, but what are some specific films from this genre or from any genre that you looked to when you were leading into the pre-production of this? Like, were there any ones that you went to revisit that kind of get you into the mindset, into the vibe of telling this story?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll talk about this knowing there's spoilers. So,
Okay. Well,
there's the death scene of the Pops, And then, obviously I had Bruce Lee's funeral scene when Hua Yun-jia passed away on my phone, and Kenji was like, here, pull up Bruce Lee scene. I was like, you already have it open, And then he was like, how do we make that into a 2026 version, bring that kind of feeling. And, there are things unsaid, like the ending fight, I come in, I take off the jacket, I throw it off. It's a homage to like Fist of Fury, but of course with a twist of how my character would do it. So there are a lot of things spoken and unspoken that I just felt we were on a very similar frequency, which I found beautiful.
Now, just in general, outside of this film in particular, if Brian's going to throw on a movie, right? And it doesn't matter if you've seen it 100 times or 2 times. Like, what's the movie that you throw on no matter what?
Honestly, I always end up throwing on Bak, Tony Jaa's Bak.
Okay, and why is that?
Because there's something about the rawness of the film that brings a very youthful energy that I never want to forget about. You know, I believe we do what we do because originally we have fun with it, you know? And then just seeing that raw athleticism, I'm not even talking story-wise at this point. It's a straightforward story, you know, Bak, it's to save the Bak head, but just what Tony Jaa does in that film, you can tell he loves his craft. He loves his art. When he steps on to screen for the first time, you can tell, oh, he's a born martial artist. He was born for this. He lives this reality, you know? So just seeing that, it always inspires me to come back to who I am as an artist again. I would say Bak is the film.
There's a quote I love: "Take me away to where I had a kid's innocence, because in a sense, that's what I've been missing ever since," right? And when I think of that, I think of looking at things through my child's eye, right? In all the movies, talking to you, this is something I would dream about as a kid, and kind of recentering myself and being able to when we're here, right? But being recentering, right? And going like, this is why I do this. I love this. I thought about this so long. I completely align with what you just said there. Let me ask you this, though, for my final question. I could talk to you all day about movies in general, but here's my final question. What I love about a film is when either after I watch it in the theater, if I go to a concert, if I go to a play, whomever I'm with, whether I see it in the theater, I'm sitting on a couch, I like the conversation that comes afterward. Like, hey, so what did you think of this? Like, let's talk about the movie, right? For Brian, when people watch The Furious, is there a desired reaction or conversation you want them to have? Or is it too hard to answer? You say, look, I just want everyone to figure out whatever you gravitate to in it, that's what you gravitate to.
The second answer, whatever. I believe everyone, everyone perceives the world differently. Someone can watch and be like, this movie's gross. Someone can watch and be like, yeah, you know? So, I believe the work has been done as long as we put our truth into the craft. It's put out into the universe, and now it's up to God to take it from there. You know, that's how I saw it. Came in with no expectations. Still don't expect anything, but I'm extremely grateful for everything that's happened so far.
Well, you know what? That gratitude comes through. The film is great. You're great in it. Look, I could praise you all day about it, but I do appreciate you taking the time today. Congratulations on the release of this film. Congratulations on achieving your dreams of working with Kenji and everything else you do in the future. You have a supporter in me forever. So, Brian, I do appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate that, Brad. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting me come on for this interview. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, man. You have a good one. All right.